welcome back to Tea and a Buddy podcast. I am Erica.
And I'm Dominic.
And today we're going to talk about British stereotypes.
British stereotypes.
Yeah, so...
all the stereotypes about British people, of which there are none.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about these, and then me being an American, I'm going to say I've spent some time in Britain. We live in America, but I'm married to a British person, and I've spent quite a bit of time in Britain. So, I am going to say whether I think that they are true or not. I'm going to speak for all Americans and say whether these stereotypes about British people are in fact true, in my opinion. Yeah, this will be my perspective.
Yes. So, do you want me to kick it off?
Sure, yeah.
Well, number one is that we drink a lot of tea.
And in my experience, this one is super, super true.
I don't know what she's talking about. I've never drunk a cup of tea in my entire life.
No.
I hate tea. I hate it with a passion.
No, yeah. He, Dominic.
Me,
my
Dominic.
husband. In case you don't know who we are, we're married.
We're
I'm
married.
Erica. He's Dominic. British. I'm American.
If you can't tell by the accents.
Yeah. Dominic drinks a cup of tea every morning, so that's not
every morning. I've got it down. I've got my addiction down to 1 cup a day.
Yeah.
But it's a large cup. I've got this like huge coffee cup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's a coffee cup, but it's like a huge one that I can fit a lot of tea in. I have to use 2 tea bags to get a good...
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes 3 to get a good blend, get a good robust flavor.
Yeah, but when it really occurred to me, I mean, okay, so my first few times in Britain, it's like, okay, yeah, tea's their thing, whatever. But then, like, when Dominic and I went back a few years ago, I don't know, this was several years ago.
2014, I think it was. 2014.
And we were staying with his dad. It never, like, really hit me how much tea we were drinking until that time. And it was just like Dominic's dad was literally serving us cup after cup after cup. Like, we'd get up in the morning.
Mug after mug.
Oh, I've got the kettle on. Okay, first thing in the morning, fine, great. It's chilly. It's morning time. Have a cup of tea. Wake up.
Some tea.
But then it's like we'd eat breakfast and then go sit in the living room with him and like just talk a little bit about what we're gonna do that day or something like that.
And we'd watch TV a little bit, and then when the show was over, it'd be like he'd get up, and what would he say?
He'd be like, "Want some tea? Want a cup of tea? Want some tea?" And
some
I'd
tea,
be like,
tea.
We just had some
tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and that just kind of went on and on. I don't know if it was just
all day. It was just every half hour on the half hour. Tea.
No, to the point where I pulled Dominic aside and I was like, Dominic, I cannot drink another cup of tea.
She literally did.
Yes, I did.
She literally pulled me. She goes, Dominic, I can't drink any more tea. I don't want any more tea.
I don't want any more tea. I don't want to be rude,
she was
but
crying
I cannot
too.
drink another cup of tea.
She was crying too. She was like, I don't want any more tea.
It's like...
I don't want any more tea. Please.
Oh
I was just like, what's the matter? Is something wrong with you? You don't want tea? You don't want tea? How dare you? You have insulted this country. Get out.
So, yeah.
And then that crazy woman from Heathrow came and says, I always knew you were a wrong one when I first processed you.
It's funny because they don't have... Oh, God, yeah, that's a story time we need to do.
Yeah.
In another podcast.
And do you know why she shouted at you? Because you said you didn't want any more tea.
Anyway. No, they don't have, like... So if you've never been to Britain, you're planning on going, or you're wondering about Britain, they don't have, like...
If you're staying with a family...
Yeah, there's not, like, a lot of tea rooms. Like, there's not, like, tea
there's cafes.
Places.
There's cafes
like
where you can get a cup of tea.
Yeah, but there's not, like a tea version of Starbucks. There's not a place where you're going to go in and get all kinds of varieties of tea. Like, cafe, yeah, you're going to go eat and have a cup of tea.
You'll find that in London and, like, maybe bigger cities.
I mean, yeah, there are some, but they're not, like... They're not like what you would expect.
No, you know, you go to Britain, you think it's just tea everywhere. There's rivers of tea.
But you go to the grocery store and literally an entire side of an aisle, literally one whole half of an aisle is just different teas, and it's just all the tea.
It's usually just black tea too.
Yeah, just different brands of
Tetley,
black
PG Tips, Yorkshire Gold, Yorkshire Tea. I can't think.
And I'm like, what's the difference
of the store brands?
And I'm like, what's the difference between these? And he's just like, the brands, like some are in pyramid bags, and some are in round
PG
bags,
and
some are in regular shaped
PG
tea bags. And guess what, people? There's no difference in the way they taste.
I'm trying to give my piece here. I'm trying to defend the tea.
Okay, I think we've spent enough time on that one. That one is true. British people drink a lot of tea. You know, I've read though that it's going down. that it's in decline.
Tea drinking is going down. Yeah,
it's in
I've
decline.
met a few British people that say they don't like tea and they can't stand it.
One of the vloggers that we watch that's British says he doesn't drink tea.
I don't drink tea. Yeah, I don't drink tea. I only drink coffee. Yeah, and I'm just like, there's something wrong. Something's going on here. You know, it's like the bees disappearing. It's like, what's going on there? You have to find out why British people don't like tea. There's something wrong here.
Yeah.
And I aim to fix it.
So they drink a lot of tea. Okay, number 2.
We're all friends with the Queen.
I think this is the most stupid stereotype. Number 1, is this a real stereotype? I have never heard anybody assume this about British people. I think maybe British people think Americans think this, rather than this be something that we actually think.
You know, do you know the Queen?
Nobody's ever asked you that.
Yes, they have.
Don't believe
Online, there was, and they weren't joking either.
I don't believe that.
I said, yes, I have.
That's idiotic. I mean, that is
they said, oh,
that's the equivalent of people elsewhere in the world thinking that all Americans know the president. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you know?
All know the president.
Why would you know the Queen? It's so bizarre.
How bizarre? No. How bizarre?
No British people do not all know the Queen, and no, we Americans do not think that British people all know the Queen. I don't think so anyway. It never occurred to me that all British people know the Queen. It never occurred to me that anybody might think that all British people know the Queen. That's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have been asked it online. I mean, that's something I've been asked.
I don't believe you.
People saying, "Oh, you know."
Why would somebody ask?
No, there was. So I can't remember. Weird. A couple of people did it back in the day.
I can understand maybe
on like Yahoo forums or whatever it was. You know, the Yahoo chat rooms.
Oh God, you're really aging yourself now.
Yeah, remember Yahoo?
I could understand maybe because Britain is a fairly small country. Maybe have you ever seen the Queen?
Have you ever seen the Queen or
like
met
caught a glimpse of her?
Or said hello to her? She been round your house?
No, that's too close to. Do you know her? I don't know. Weird. No, they do not all know the Queen.
No,
not true.
Not true. That stereotype is not true. Number 3, we've never seen sunshine. Never seen the sun shining so bright.
I guess people. Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Like maybe when I was little and would hear people mention Britain.
It's always raining.
It's always raining. It's always gray and gloomy.
Continual devotion to Earl Grey.
I've never heard anybody actually say, "Oh, British people have never seen the sunshine. They don't know what the sunshine looks like."
Sunshine.
Obviously, this stereotype is not true. I mean, I got a sunburn in the UK.
Yeah, you did. You got a sunburn, and that's when we decided to apply tea to it to make it feel better.
No, I mean, there's days where it's all gray and gloomy day after day, but not really. I mean, most of the time, it's very much like...
Well, right now they're seeing sunshine. Yeah. Right today, this July, because apparently it's 101 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 45 or... No, 42.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I have no idea what Celsius is.
It's something like 38 maybe. Around that figure.
But yeah, I mean... Britain is very much like what I would think of any other island. Like, it rains for a period during the day, almost every day, and then it's just like it's sunny, or maybe there's a few clouds in the sky. But yeah, I mean, they get the sun. It's a place.
It's a place in the world.
It's a place on Earth, and the sun reaches there. So
yes. Number 4 is we can't handle said sunshine.
That stereotype is obviously true. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if you've ever met anyone who's from Britain, my husband included, they are very pale people. And
can't handle it.
Okay, they're not pale because a lot of them like the self-tanner just a little bit too much, but that's the only reason that they are not pale. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like redhead tones in British people. Like, you have a lot of redhead tendencies, which means your skin is more fair and more susceptible to sunlight. A lot of you. And yeah, I think that's true. I mean, you guys are more fair skinned. The temperature is not super, super warm all the time. So even if it's like a bit sunny, people aren't...
You cannot handle heat or the sunshine, yes.
People aren't...
That's something...
Yeah, people aren't
like
going
now,
out.
Right? People are just like, oh, it's so hot. It's so hot. Oh, it's so hot. Can't handle it. Can't handle it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these are the same people that go on about, oh, need a holiday, need to go down, Spain, and I'd love to live in Spain where it's all nice and warm and sunshine all the time. But when it comes to Britain, it's like, oh, it's too hot, oh, can't stand it. And it's like, well, why do you want to move to Spain then? Yeah. So it's like British people cannot handle sun.
Well, I mean, British people, think about where Britain is located on the planet. I mean, it's quite far from the equator. So yeah, your skin is not made to withstand the sun. So yeah, you guys burn a lot more easily. So yeah, that stereotype is true. They burn pretty easily.
Yeah.
Them
people.
Those British people.
How dare they? Number 5 is the Brits watch a lot of TV.
I mean, I think this is really subjective. It just depends on who you know. I don't know that British people watch any more television than Americans. I don't know. I can't really say that that's true or untrue.
I mean, we watch an amount of TV. We have a lot of like period dramas.
Yeah, but I don't think it's any more than anywhere else in the world.
We do love
and I'm sure there are plenty of British families who don't own a television, don't believe in watching television.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of silly. I don't know where that comes from, actually. I guess just the fact that British people pay the television license, and you all are quite proud of the BBC. So it's just like, oh, we just assume that means you watch a load of television. I don't know. I've never heard that stereotype, and I would say that it's not any different than anywhere else in the world.
No, I don't think so.
Just depends on who you know. Yeah. Some people might watch a load of television. That's all they do is sit around watching television.
Daytime television, and like
some people,
doctors.
And some people may like to go, on hiking most of the day or whatever. Yeah. Hiking through Home Bargains. Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, not Home Bargains. House Hunters or whatever it's called. Bargain Hunt. That's what it's called. Daytime TV. I don't watch a lot of it. I never really did watch a lot
daytime television's horrible no matter where you are.
Yeah, it is. It is really. Another stereotype is that we speak posh. Very posh.
This stereotype is obviously not true. Because there's an endless number of accents around the UK. For as small a country as it is, there's quite a lot of different accents, from Welsh to Scottish, Northern Irish,
Yorkshire,
Liverpool,
what are
Yorkshire,
you gonna do?
Manchester, Cornish. Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
Somerset.
There's so many accents, and you guys, we did a horrible podcast early on.
Go listen to that one. That was brilliant. We're going to listen to it right after this to reminisce.
If you're
about our great
interested,
accents.
if you're interested in hearing us do some terrible accents, go check that one out. But yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that that one.
People like Hugh Grant and all the British people. Back in the day, they used to have like a BBC accent, which is like, you used to hear that. It's like, hello, how are you? Oh yes, right up the fact, oh, you're British, you see? Yes, oh yes, wonderful, yes. That kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, nobody had ever really heard a regional accent from Britain.
Right.
They didn't know
except
it
for the Beatles, but it seems like people forget about the Beatles.
That's when it started kind of like breaking down,
I don't know, because I think there are still a lot of people. I think that there still are a lot of Americans who just think of the typical, like, Queens,
hello, and welcome
accent.
to our garden party.
And they're not thinking about people like, the Beatles and...
Well, no, because, I mean, they're just common, aren't they?
You know nothing, Jon Snow,
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
The Lord Commander of the Night's Watch and the wildlings are coming through the gates.
Yeah, I mean, people just, like, forget that those are British accents also, and they're just like, oh, no, the British accent is the typical one you kind of hear on television and in movies all the time.
It's cut glass.
Not true, though. There's a bunch of different types of British accents. So, next.
We're mad about football. Are we mad about football?
I mean, you're not.
Soccer.
So.
Soccer.
I think this is dependent upon who you know.
As a nation, I'd say there's a lot more football fans out there than there aren't, really, I mean, I'm not particularly a big football fan, really. I mean, I'll watch the World Cup every once in a while, but I'm not I'm not mad about it. I don't have a team that I'm like, oh, I support, I'm not like, well, hey, Manchester United or Newcastle United or whatever.
I guess it's the same thing as saying Americans are football obsessed, football meaning American football over here.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we are. I could not care less about football personally, but okay, yeah, Britain's obsessed with football.
Okay,
football meaning
sure.
Soccer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Are you? If you're listening and you're British, let me know if you're obsessed with
up the Reds. Come on, you Blues.
Let me know if you're obsessed with football, because
eat your greens.
I really don't know actually if you are or not, because Dominic is not. So he's and the other British people I know are not particularly, but maybe I just know weird British people. I don't know.
You just know weird British people. That's right. The next one is, and we love a good drink.
This one is true. Yeah.
We love a good old booze up, don't we?
In my experience, yeah, this one's true. I think it's just a lot more common over there. I mean, the drinking age is younger, and I don't know. We've talked about driving in Britain and how not a lot of people drive. I mean, I'd say half of the population, maybe. I don't really know. But because driving is not, whether you have a car or not, you might not use it that much in Britain, depending. But they're certainly, for the most part, not going to drink and then get into a car.
No. It's very, I mean, it's like frowned upon really badly. I mean, it's illegal, obviously. But,
yeah, so drinking is sort of just
You're not driving, are you, Rod?
It's just a totally different thing.
Don't get in the car, you silly bugger.
Oh my God. Drinking is just a totally different thing in Britain than it is here. We have also talked about the drinking culture in a separate podcast. If you would like, you can go find that one and listen to it. I don't know. There's a pub nearby, so it's easy for people to stop in after work, and they kind of meet up with friends.
They meet up with friends, and I mean, years ago, well, I don't know if it's still a thing, but in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and maybe 80s, there was a thing called the liquid lunch, where people would go on their lunch break and go and have a few pints and then come back, you know? And it would, the boozing session would last a couple of hours.
That seems so bizarre that somebody would go drink anything during a work day, like in the middle of the work day. It used to be
a thing, you know. It's like apparently the police were known for it. You know, like CID and everything were known for it because I guess it's because of the Sweeney. They thought, oh yeah, we'll start drinking and talking like Jack Reagan, you know, as like shat at you slag and smoking and drinking and farting and all that kind of stuff, you know. It's like, yeah, it's what we do. It's what we do.
I think I've seen somebody's YouTube episode anyway before where they're talking about that people still do that. They still go have a drink or two during lunch and then go back to work. It's just like, what? I
mean, if you get too sloshed, I mean, that's the end of the workday, isn't it, really?
Well, you're going to get fired. I mean, over here you would be fired if you came to work and you'd clearly been drinking.
I've got the margaritas. I just had a couple of margaritas, all right. Don't get on to me. Oh my God. Don't fire me. I've just had a couple of margs.
Okay. But
anyway, pizza.
Anyway,
it's not about the pizza.
The drinking culture is just different in Britain than it is here, and I mean, I think that stereotype is pretty true. Again, it depends on who you know. Maybe you might know the British people you might know do not drink whatsoever. So in that case, you wouldn't think that it's true. Maybe if you are British and you don't drink, you don't think that the drinking that the stereotype that Brits love a good drink is true. I don't know. But in my experience, it is true. So, on to the next one.
On to the next one. We're super polite. Please and thank you.
Some of these are...
Sorry. Please and thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is, most of you are like, you know...
These are so
stereotypes about Canada and or is it Australia? In Australia they say mate all the time, and in Canada they're so polite and they say sorry all the time, and it's like that's British stereotypes right there.
I don't know. I mean, over here, I hear people say, "Oh, British people say sorry all the time." In America,
I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry.
In America, and actually, I think it's been said to be like a worldwide thing that it's women who are always apologizing, or they're always saying, "Oh, sorry," you know, someone can bump into us and we say sorry. And I think I do that. So is that a British thing, or is that just I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I mean, this is
just so...
This is subjective again. I mean, it depends on who you know. I mean, I've heard plenty of rude British people when I've been in Britain.
Rude British people go, "Oh, get the fire, go away, mate. I'll kill you."
Well, you know, so it's just
exactly like that.
It's just subjective. I mean, yeah, some of them are nice and some of them are not, just like anywhere else, you know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that one's like half and half. I don't know.
Half and half.
Just depends on who you know.
And what exactly is half and half? We don't know.
I mean, I guess most British people are polite, but most people everywhere that I've come across are fairly polite, especially if you're a stranger. Like, who's going to be rude to a stranger? You know, that's just weird.
Terrible people. That's who's rude to a stranger. Evil villains.
Well, it's just like
villainous cads.
Oh my God, he is really in a mood today.
Scoundrels, I tell you.
Next.
The next one is we eat terrible food. And whoever thinks that is a scoundrel.
We eat terrible food. Oh, I mean, they eat terrible food.
We eat terrible food.
This is so terrible. What is terrible?
Oh,
you know,
British food is bad. That's one stereotype.
They're showing
really
a doner.
Surprised me.
They're showing a doner kebab.
A chicken doner kebab. It looks like.
British food is bad. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that until I came over here, until everybody was like, "Oh, the British food." Well,
yeah, that's a big stereotype.
You told me something about it when you first came So I don't think I'd ever heard it online. Everybody kind of like maybe didn't want to offend or something. I never heard anyone say, "Oh yeah, British food is bad," until I met Erica.
I mean, the thing about it
Tried
is,
to put warm milk in her cornflakes.
I mean, the thing about it, I swear he has not been drinking. The thing about it is that
I'm talking about drinking.
British,
All the time.
that British food is just like roast and potatoes and like steamed vegetables and what else?
Everything
Like
steamed to death.
pies, meat pies.
Meat pies.
They're showing a doner kebab here, which I
Yeah.
actually have not ever tried, so I can't. Speak
Yeah,
on
you've
that.
had donuts.
I've had a kebab, but I haven't had.
Yeah, you have.
And yes, I say kebab. Okay, for any
Kebab.
British people that are
Kebab.
listening.
Kebab.
Kebab.
Kebab. Shaved off the spit. Yeah, you've had one.
That's not with doner meat, though. We haven't had doner. I've had like
lamb. That's what doner meat is, basically.
No,
they
I
call
think
it.
doner meat is like all the leftover bits, isn't it?
That's what. No, I mean that's what they say, but I think it's mostly like lamb and chicken and beef.
Chicken. I mean, I've mostly had
And
chicken.
lamb.
Kebabs.
Beef. Kebabs.
I think the thing about British food is it's just, for the most part, home-style cooking.
Home-style cooking.
And so that can be kind of bland if you haven't seasoned it up
You
enough.
don't want a roast dinner with Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire puddings are not bland. Yorkshire puddings are really good. But for the most part, it can be kind of bland. So I guess that's where the stereotype of it not being good comes from. Actually,
No,
I think the
it's
stereotype
the
of it not
war.
being good comes from,
The rationing.
from further back.
And you don't have
It
dinner.
actually wasn't good.
Yeah. It wasn't good back then because there was no meat, so you had to have like hearts and parts and stuff,
Yeah.
and just like the last stuff that you could scrape. Oh, it was just terrible.
So it's not that it's not good.
I mean, you watched Back in Time for Dinner.
Yeah.
And when they did the 40 segment, the whole kids were like, "Oh God, I can't eat this. This is so grim, so grim."
Yeah. I think that it's not good. It's just maybe not that exciting. It's not like, ooh, Italian food with a lot of herbs, or like Indian food with a lot of spices, although there's a lot of Indian food in Britain. So,
well, yeah, that's come up now since the 60s, That's like taken its top spot. And I think it's at its peak in the 80s and 90s.
yeah.
Was Indian food, and maybe the early 2000s, because I remember as a kid always going for a curry now, as a teenager I was just like always going out and getting chicken tikka masala.
Yeah, so I mean,
And Erica, you said that when we were in Masala Walk the other night. You said, "I could just eat this all the time. It's my food."
oh, yeah. Yeah, I could.
Yeah. So there.
But if you like vinegar and you're going to put that
Fish
on your
and
chips, yeah, it's delicious.
You are rocking, man.
If you like a roast dinner with roasted
all the
potatoes
trimmings,
and
roast
stuff.
parsnips, roast
Yorkshire
potatoes.
puddings are delicious. Yeah, so
peas,
this is
carrots,
not really true. I mean,
rock and roll,
I'm
mate,
sure you can.
gravy.
I'm sure you can probably get it, and it's bland. They haven't put enough seasonings in it or whatever. But for the most part, it's just like it's fine. Yeah,
It's good. It's lovely. It's delicious. Okay. Number 11 is we live in castles and cottages.
I wish that this one was true, but no, it's not true. Actually, a majority of British homes are really disappointing, actually, to Americans, in my opinion. Because you go, and I kind of want to see all the old, like, Victorian or even older, like, cottages and everything made with brick and, like, really lots of detailing and just really, I don't know. Dickensian.
Oh,
and instead
love to
it's
go
all
to, like wonky houses. You love all that Harry Potter Diagon Alley stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I want. That's what I want Britain to look like. But instead, most places are like they have this stuff called pebble dashing on the outside, and it's all like just gravel basically on the outside, and it's all one color, and everything looks like that, and it's just all bland and boring.
It's to protect against the elements. It is.
It's bland and boring and horrible. So, for the most part, I mean, go to the Cotswolds. I think
like when they were taking off the pebble dash, and you could see the exposed brick, and you were just like, no, Don't do it. No. She was at the window shouting at them.
No, they had taken
They were just
it
like,
all
what are you
off,
talking
and
about?
They had taken it all off, and they were putting more on. And I was like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
So it's unfortunate, but no, they do not all live in castles and cottages.
Yeah.
And the last one is what?
Oh, number 12 is us Brits are emotionally stunted.
This is the stiff upper lip thing. And in my experience,
Stiff upper lip. We did a podcast on that.
yeah, this podcast is full of things
Direct references to our other podcast. So go look, go listen, go share, go tell us all about it.
Yes. Yeah. So the stiff upper lip thing, Brits are emotionally stunted. I think that it's becoming less true, but I think there is some truth to it. Yeah.
We're kaiing. We kai less than everybody else in the world. We're not kaiing.
Yeah, I mean, Dominic recently watched The Notebook and he cried. So he's British.
I cried.
So there you go.
I cried with happiness that it was over. It was a cute movie with the ducks and everything flying off at the end and people dying in their bed. And if you haven't seen The Notebook, I've just spoiled it for you, and you will enjoy it. You will.
Yeah, I think it's true. I mean, it's got a long history, and like Dominic said, we've done a podcast about it previously.
I blame
so
Lord Lucan for it all. Really.
You can go look for that and listen to it. I do think there's some truth in it, but I think it is becoming less true, which is good because people need to be in touch with their emotions and need to be honest with themselves about the way they're feeling about things. So, so those stereotypes are like half and half true, half not.
Half not.
Depends on who you know.
The next one will be about American stereotypes. You'll hear me talking about them.
Yeah, this next time Dominic gets to say whether he thinks the American stereotypes are true. So,
and I will be dressing as Lord Lucan for the occasion. So, thank you very much.
We are on Coffee. We have a page on Coffee.
We have a coffee page,
which is an online tipping service. So if you're enjoying our content, you can go over there and give us a little tip, and it just helps us stay motivated and keep churning these out for you guys, because we're not getting paid for this. We're kind of just doing it in our free time because we like to hear ourselves talk.
Like a window of free time right now is like 15 minutes. So.
But if you cannot support us financially, which is absolutely fine, we would never expect anybody to.
If you can't support us financially, support us other ways by sharing, telling everybody about us, saying whether we're bad or we're good. We need some feedback, people.
We need a lot of feedback. We need to hear from you guys.
Because sometimes you come out and go, oh, I listened to that, and we didn't even know you were listening. We thought you didn't care.
Yes.
And we're very surprised.
That happens all the time. Someone just comes out who we don't know. They've never spoken to us before. And we're just like,
they'll be like, what are you talking about in that last podcast? I've been listening since day one. And you haven't said nout.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So go on any of those places and let us know you're out there. We want to hear from you. And that's it.
And that's it. We'll see you on the next episode, everybody.
Yes. Bye.
Goodbye.